Hey everyone, welcome back. Today's topic is personal. It's about reclaiming your power when the narcissist tries to destroy your name, your peace, and your truth. Smear campaigns are their final act of control, their desperate attempt to keep your spirit in chains. But here's the secret: they only win when you stay afraid. So in this video, we're not just exposing their tactics, we're learning how to rise so high that their lies can't reach you anymore. A narcissist's greatest fear isn't being hated, it's being irrelevant. That's why they start a smear campaign the moment they lose control over you. They'll twist stories, spread rumors, and turn people against you. It's their way of saying, if I can't own your mind, I'll own your reputation. But what they don't realize is that truth has patience. Lies are loud for a season, but truth echoes forever. The more they talk, the clearer their mask becomes. When the narcissist begins their smear campaign, their goal isn't to destroy your life. It's to destroy your confidence. They want you silent, paranoid, apologetic. They want you second-guessing yourself, wondering who believes them. It's psychological warfare. But here's the truth they hate. People who know your character will never believe the lies, and the ones who do were never really in your corner. The smear isn't exposure, it's a filter. The first rule of surviving a smear campaign is silence. Not the silence of fear, but the silence of strength. Narcissists feed off your reaction. They want rage, tears, explanations, anything that keeps you dancing on their stage. When you stay calm, they panic, because your silence says what words never can. You no longer control the narrative. Their lies become noise, and your peace becomes the proof that they've lost access to your emotions. They'll often start small, planting subtle doubts in mutual friends or co-workers. I'm worried about them, they'll say, pretending to care while poisoning your reputation. Then they escalate, sharing concerns about your mental health, your integrity, your faithfulness. They're not warning people, they're recruiting an audience. Every smear is a story where they play the hero and you play the villain. But every story they tell only reveals their obsession. When you stop defending yourself, they become desperate. They'll try to provoke you publicly through social media posts, gossip, or emotional baiting. Don't engage. Every response becomes a screenshot. Every argument becomes proof. Narcissists thrive on chaos, but when you give them none, they start crumbling under the weight of their own performance. Your calmness is not weakness. It's evidence of mastery. Remember, silence speaks a language their ego can't translate. It's tempting to try to defend your reputation, to correct the lies, to call everyone and explain. But that's exactly what they want, your energy. You don't owe anyone a presentation of your innocence. People who truly know you don't need proof, and those who choose gossip over truth have already shown where their loyalty lies. You can't save your image by playing their game. The only way to win is to stop performing for their illusion. A narcissist smear campaign is projection in motion. Everything they accuse you of is what they secretly are. They'll call you manipulative, unstable, controlling, because those are the traits they see in themselves. They're not exposing you, they're confessing. And the beauty of truth is, it doesn't need defending. Over time, people will notice the pattern. The one who talks the most ends up revealing the least authenticity. Lies decay fast. Truth endures quietly. The smear campaign hurts most when it comes from family or church, because those spaces carry trust, and the narcissist knows it. They'll twist faith into their weapon, using morality as camouflage. Pray for them, they'll whisper to others, pretending compassion while planting doubt. But God doesn't bless deception. The same community they poisoned will one day see the rot. The storm may rage for a season, but truth has a way of clearing every sky. You can't control what they say, but you can control what you embody. Let your peace be your statement. Let your kindness contradict their lies. Let your silence confuse their narrative. The narcissist expects chaos. Give them composure instead. Over time, people notice the contrast. Their bitterness next to your calm. And that contrast speaks louder than any defense you could ever give. The smear campaign ends when you stop fearing their voice. When you stop reacting, you'll see the narcissist unravel. They can't function without emotional fuel. Your silence becomes their nightmare because it exposes the emptiness behind their drama. They'll double down, posting vague quotes, pretending to be the victim, or reaching out to mutual friends with concern in their voice. Don't take the bait. Every move they make in desperation reveals the truth, that you were the calm one all along, and they were the chaos. Smear campaigns are never about truth. They're about power. The narcissist doesn't want justice. They want attention. Whether people believe them or not doesn't matter. What matters is that you are affected. They want you anxious, explaining yourself, checking who unfriended you. They feed off that energy. The moment you stop participating in their narrative, you starve them. You're not losing reputation. You're reclaiming freedom from their emotional control. It's important to remember, people with integrity don't need to prove it. The narcissist's biggest weakness is exposure over time. Lies need maintenance, truth doesn't. While they're busy managing stories, you're living in peace. Eventually, the cracks show. The people who once believed them will start to notice inconsistencies. They'll see how every relationship the narcissist touches turns sour. That's the beauty of patience. It reveals what noise tries to hide. You'll go through moments of loneliness. When you walk away from a narcissist, you also walk away from their crowd, the ones they've fooled or controlled. It will feel unfair, like you lost everything while they kept everyone. But understand this, you didn't lose a community. You lost a cult of illusion. Real connection is built on truth, not manipulation. The ones who matter will find their way back when the fog lifts, and it always does. To truly shut down a smear campaign, you must detach emotionally. Don't try to clear your name with those who are committed to misunderstanding you. You can't heal where manipulation lives. The narcissist's power dies the moment you stop explaining, because explanation implies guilt, and you are not guilty. You're recovering. Let your calm become your reputation. The people meant for you will see your energy and know the truth without you saying a word. The fear they planted in you isn't permanent. It's conditioned. Every time you flinch at the thought of what they might say or do, you're reliving their control. But here's the healing truth. They can't hurt you anymore. Their words are weapons that no longer pierce, because you've stopped standing in their battlefield. You've stepped into higher ground, where peace, not fear, decides your next move. And from up there, their noise sounds so small. When they realize their words no longer scare you, they'll try to scare others. They'll warn people, don't trust them. But time always unmasks them. Narcissists underestimate the power of consistency. You don't need to retaliate. Just live authentically. Let your steady peace dismantle their chaos. Let your long-term truth erase their short-term lies. It's not revenge, it's realignment. The more you grow, the smaller their smear becomes in the story of your life. Understand this. Their smear campaign is actually their confession. Every insult they throw reveals what they secretly fear being exposed for. They call you unstable because they live in chaos. They label you fake because their whole existence is performance. They accuse you of betrayal because loyalty is foreign to them. When you stop taking their words personally, you see the projection clearly. Their gossip stops being truth. It becomes proof. There's a moment during healing when you'll stop fearing their voice. You'll hear they've been talking about you again, and you'll feel nothing. That's when you know you're free. Their name no longer triggers anxiety. It triggers clarity. You realize they can't smear your soul, your peace, your growth, your authenticity. Those are untouchable. Their words echo in circles, while your truth moves forward. The noise fades, but your silence stands eternal. The narcissist smear campaign only works when you still believe they matter. Once you see them for who they are, small, fearful, desperate for relevance, the fear dies. You stop worrying about their lies because you understand their power was always borrowed from your attention. And when you withdraw that attention, they disappear. The most poetic justice isn't revenge, it's peace. It's living so fully that their name no longer means anything. Healing after a smear campaign feels like learning to breathe again. You've been holding your breath for so long, waiting for the next lie, the next betrayal, the next whisper. But one day, you realize the air feels lighter. That's because you've stopped carrying their story. You no longer need to defend a truth that defends itself. Every breath you take without fear is a silent victory. The smear campaign didn't destroy you. It revealed how strong you truly are. The narcissist's power ends when you stop explaining yourself. You owe no one your defense. The moment you stop chasing validation, their control collapses. People with integrity always outlast those built on illusion. Let your calm presence become your response. When they lie, keep living. When they slander, keep shining. Every step you take in peace proves that you were never the unstable one. You were simply surrounded by chaos that called itself love. You'll start to see their tactics clearly: the victim mask, the half-truths, the selective storytelling. It's always the same pattern. They twist every kindness you showed into weakness, every boundary into cruelty. But remember, no one tells lies about someone they've truly forgotten. Their obsession is proof of your impact. They're haunted by the fact that you're no longer under their control. Every rumor they spread screams one truth: they can't move on, but you can. Your silence will trigger them more than your words ever did. Narcissists crave your reaction like oxygen. When you give none, they suffocate. They'll twist your calm into arrogance, your boundaries into pride. Let them. You're not responsible for their narrative. You're responsible for your peace, and that peace becomes your statement, louder than any speech, sharper than any rebuttal. When you stop reacting, you force them to face themselves, their worst fear. You may still feel waves of fear sometimes, fear that people will believe the lies, fear that your reputation is ruined. But those fears are ghosts from the past. The truth is, their words have no power beyond your belief in them. Every time you choose calmness over panic, you weaken the chains they tried to wrap around your mind. Fear can't survive in the presence of awareness. Once you know the game, the spell breaks, and the power returns to you. You'll notice the smear campaign doesn't end dramatically. It dies quietly, like a candle burning out in daylight. The gossip fades, the audience loses interest, the narcissist moves on to their next target, and suddenly, you realize you survived what was meant to destroy you. Their lies didn't define you, they exposed them. Your silence was never weakness, it was wisdom, because peace doesn't need to prove itself, it simply outlasts the noise. When you rise above the smear, people notice, not the ones who gossip, but the ones who watch silently, observing the difference between drama and dignity. They see how you carry yourself, how you refuse to engage, how you choose grace over vengeance. That quiet strength earns more respect than any defense ever could. The narcissist's smear may have been loud, but your character is louder, and eventually, truth walks back into every room where lies once lived. To heal completely, you must forgive yourself, not for what you did, but for what you tolerated. You stayed because you cared. You fought for peace because you believed love could fix what was broken. That's not weakness, that's humanity. But now, you've learned that not everyone deserves access to your heart. Forgiveness isn't about letting them back in, it's about freeing yourself from the weight of resentment. You can't heal while still hating. When you choose peace, they'll call it avoidance. When you choose boundaries, they'll call it selfishness. When you choose silence, they'll call it guilt. Let them. Their judgment means nothing. You're not living to please the narrative of broken people anymore. You're living to protect your spirit. The world may not see the battles you fought in silence, but the strength you carry now tells the story. You don't owe anyone proof. Your peace is your testimony. There will come a moment when the fear completely dies, when their name no longer triggers your heartbeat, when the memories feel distant, when the lies no longer sting. That's when you'll know you're free. You didn't win by fighting harder. You won by letting go sooner. You stopped reacting, stopped explaining, stopped fearing. You chose peace, and that choice rewrote the ending. They wanted you broken, but you became untouchable. That's the ultimate victory. Rebuilding confidence after a smear campaign starts with one simple truth. You don't have to convince anyone to believe in you. People who know your heart will never need proof. Those who believed lies were looking for an excuse, not evidence. You owe no one an explanation for surviving abuse. Your job isn't to repair other people's perception, it's to protect your peace. Every moment you choose calm over chaos, you rebuild the dignity they tried to destroy. Start speaking your truth quietly, but consistently. Not to defend yourself, but to reclaim your narrative. The narcissist tried to paint you as unstable, dramatic, or bitter. Let your calm actions dismantle their claims. You don't need to shout the truth, you just need to live it. Over time, your peace becomes undeniable. Every smile they said was fake. Every boundary they mocked. Every silence they misinterpreted. It all becomes proof of your strength. Healing doesn't mean pretending it never happened. It means seeing the smear for what it truly was, a reflection of their fear, not your failure. They attacked your reputation because they couldn't control your reality. You walked away, and that shattered their illusion of dominance. Smear campaigns are just noise from people who've lost access to your life. Let them talk. Words can only hurt when you're still standing in the fire. You've already stepped out. The narcissist wanted you to live in fear. Fear of judgment, fear of loss, fear of isolation. But fear is an illusion. It only lives in your reaction. When you stop reacting, fear starves. You begin to understand that peace is not given, it's claimed. Every calm breath, every choice to stay silent, every moment of detachment kills fear a little more. The narcissist can't destroy you anymore, because the version of you they targeted no longer exists. One of the greatest lies they tell during a smear is that you're crazy or unstable. They do this because they fear the power of your truth. Once you speak, their lies collapse. So they paint you as irrational before you even open your mouth. Don't fall for it. Let time expose them. The people who believe in authenticity will notice the pattern, how their stories never add up, how their words contradict their image. Lies can't outlive patience. You'll find peace in not needing to be liked. The narcissist trained you to chase approval, but approval is just control disguised as acceptance. Once you realize your worth isn't up for negotiation, everything changes. You stop explaining. You stop apologizing for boundaries. You stop shrinking to make others comfortable. The freedom you feel from letting go of external validation is addictive. You'll wonder how you ever lived under their emotional leash. Sometimes healing feels lonely, but solitude isn't punishment, it's protection. The silence that once felt unbearable becomes sacred ground. You begin to hear your own thoughts again, trust your own intuition, believe your own perception. You no longer need anyone to confirm your truth. The narcissist wanted you dependent on their version of reality. But now, you've reclaimed your voice. Solitude teaches you what their chaos tried to make you forget: who you are. Rebuilding your reputation doesn't require revenge, it requires authenticity. Just keep showing up as yourself. Be consistent. Be kind. Be still. The narcissist's lies crumble under the weight of time because deception is exhausting. They can't maintain their facade forever. While they waste energy keeping up appearances, you're growing in silence. And when the dust settles, people will remember not what they said but how you carried yourself through it. Don't be surprised when the narcissist eventually returns, not to apologize, but to test your boundaries. They might send a casual message, ask about your life, or pretend they've changed, but their intentions remain the same: to regain emotional access. Stay grounded. You don't need closure from the same person who caused the wound. Their reappearance isn't a second chance, it's a reminder of how far you've come. Recognize the pattern and close the door quietly. And when you look back, you'll realize something profound. Their smear campaign didn't break you, it built you. It stripped away illusions, exposed fake friends, and revealed your resilience. You learned that truth doesn't need defending and fear can't survive where peace lives. The same people who once doubted you will one day admire your calm. You'll see that everything they tried to destroy became the foundation of your strength. That's your real victory. Freedom begins when you realize you owe the narcissist nothing. Not your defense, not your fear, not your forgiveness. They built their illusion from your reactions, and now you've taken them back. Every time you choose peace instead of panic, you take another piece of power away from them. They wanted you to live in their shadow, but you've stepped into light. They can't reach you anymore, because your awareness has become your armor. When you no longer fear their opinion, you become unstoppable. The narcissist influence thrives on intimidation, on the idea that your silence means weakness. But now your silence is strength. You no longer need to prove your truth. You embody it. Their words might still echo for a while, but echoes fade when no one listens. The fear that once held you captive dissolves into clarity. You finally see their voice was never louder. You were just quieter. You'll start to notice something powerful. People who used to believe their lies begin to see through them. Time has a way of peeling masks. The narcissist can't maintain their image forever, because performance demands energy and truth demands none. When the show ends, authenticity remains. You won't have to say, "I told you so." The truth will do that for you, and when it does, it will confirm what you already knew. Peace always outlasts performance. Forgiveness comes, not because they deserve it, but because you do. Holding on to anger ties you to their story. Letting go isn't surrender, it's release. You're not forgetting, you're freeing yourself. Forgiveness is not about giving them another chance. It's about giving yourself closure. The past will always exist, but it no longer owns you. You can look back without bitterness, remember without pain, and walk forward with the quiet dignity of survival. Healing means understanding that your worth was never tied to what they said about you. They smeared your name because they could never reach your truth. They tried to bury your light under their lies, but you turned that darkness into soil, and you grew. Every rumor became fertilizer for your resilience. Every betrayal became proof of your strength. You didn't just survive the smear campaign, you transcended it. They aimed for your reputation, but missed your soul. When fear dies, peace takes its place. You no longer check who's talking or what's being said. You no longer lose sleep over rumors or apologies that never came. You wake up calm because the war is over, not because they surrendered, but because you stopped fighting for their validation. That's when you finally understand the deepest truth of all. Fear isn't something they gave you. It was something you agreed to carry, and now you've put it down. The narcissist's greatest punishment is irrelevance. They can no longer provoke you, no longer scare you, no longer control the story. Their lies float aimlessly without your reaction to anchor them. They become the author of fiction in a world that's finally stopped reading. Meanwhile, you're busy living, loving, growing, building peace they can't comprehend. The silence they used to weaponize has become your sanctuary. That's poetic justice at its finest. You'll reach a moment of stillness, where their name no longer stings, where your heart feels light, where your life feels full again. That's when you realize the smear campaign wasn't your ending. It was your awakening. You learned to stop fearing rejection, to stop chasing approval, to stop explaining yourself to people committed to misunderstanding you. What was meant to break you became the blueprint for your peace. That's not survival, that's rebirth. And when you meet others who are still trapped in fear, afraid to speak, afraid to walk away, afraid to be misunderstood, you'll recognize yourself in them. You'll remind them that fear only has power when you believe the narcissist's lies. You'll tell them that peace is possible, that truth always surfaces, that silence is not surrender, it's sovereignty. Your healing will become their hope. Your calmness will become their courage. That's how the cycle ends. Thank you for watching. If this message touched your heart, remember, your truth doesn't need defending and your peace doesn't need permission. The narcissist smear campaign was loud, but your comeback is silent and sacred. You've already won, not by fighting harder but by healing deeper. Hit like if this brought you clarity, share it to empower others, and subscribe for more messages that remind you fear ends where truth begins. Your peace is permanent.